Hitting the big button in 3, in 2. All right, says that we are live on the YouTubes for the November 2023 Westlake Charter School Board Meeting. Board President Golick, you have the floor.
Thank you, Dr. Ike. For those watching at home on YouTube, just a reminder that we will take public comments. Please email admin@westlakecharter.com, limiting your email to 250 words. And if you would please put in the subject line the topic which you want to make a comment on, that would be great. With that, come on.
Yes, ma'am.
With that, Amy, will you please take the roll?
Yes. Pope.
Here.
Sean.
Here.
Josh.
Here.
Meredith.
Here.
Amber.
Here.
Suzanne. Nurali.
Here.
Amy.
Here.
And Ann.
Thank you. That brings us to celebrations. Who would like to go first?
I would like to go first.
Great.
We have an audience today. We have public, and I am celebrating the excitement that I have for the presentation that's coming up. I think that's just such a cool concept to have you guys come out and present to us, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Love it. What a way to start. I love that. Thank you, Josh.
Thanks. Amy or Meredith, who wants to go next? We'll go around. Oh, Amy. Ooh,
Amy
Amy's
Rice
the
is
buzzer.
reaching. She's reaching.
Like family feud.
Right.
I'll celebrate. It's kind of a dual celebration. We get a 3-day weekend. And, thank you to all of our veterans out there. But then also, we're going into Parent Conference Week, which is my absolute favorite thing to do with parent conferences. I love to meet with families and just tell them how incredible I think their kids are and how much progress they're making. And so I'm really excited to connect with families this next week.
I love it.
Thank you. Amy.
You swing this way. You know that I am a true basketball hooper now, that I went with the kids this summer. Like,
Your jam.
just saying, I got my t-shirt ready because games start next week, and I'm super excited to go. I'm going to be that obnoxious parent that yells for our kids Tuesday at Natomas High School.
They're playing against Natomas High. That's really
Yes.
exciting. Really
And
exciting.
I'm going to be there.
It's good. I was wandering through the high school the other day, and I wandered into the robotics class, and I think it's a cool class. I gotta tell you, I was just like at the diversity in the room, right? Kids who I thought would take robotics, kids who I didn't know would take robotics, kids who I don't know if they signed up for robotics, but everybody was rocking it. I mean, the robotics class at Westlake Charter High School is on fire, and they had built the robot, and the robots were picking up pixels and placing them on a board, and it took 2 people to navigate simultaneously, and it was a competition between teams, and there was a leaderboard going on, and you're just like, wow, it was super engaging. I thought I would love to be in this class, so just celebrate a really cool elective.
I'd like to celebrate sports. Dr. Galloway, your cross-country team, you have a number of section qualifiers.
Let's go.
Is it 8 section qualifiers? Which is pretty amazing. Our girls volleyball team also made it to sections, and so it's something the board really committed to funding, right? It was athletics, and we celebrate it often, but I don't know if we celebrate it enough at the same time. So congrats to all our athletes who have, had really fabulous seasons.
Yeah, love it.
Amber.
I will celebrate just that it's really cool to see all the parent volunteers here again. I've been able to volunteer in my kids' classes a couple times this year, and it's just every time I come on campus, it's just there's people everywhere again, and it's just amazing.
Yeah.
People visiting, people touring, just different things. It's wonderful.
It's good.
Thank you, Amber and Raleigh.
I'm going to do 2 of them really quickly. I want to celebrate Fall Festival. It was a lot of fun. It was exciting to see families out there, kids excited to see friends, just a good community. I mean, there were people who actually don't go here, but they came with other families that go here that we recognize from our neighborhood, and that was just amazing to see because it is a truly community event. So love that. Second piece was about participating in my child's classroom for the first time, and it was so awesome to meet other parents, and there was even a parent there whose child was sick that day, but she had volunteered, and so she showed up, and I was like, true commitment, and that was awesome. So I wanted to celebrate her, Heather, if she is listening.
Steve.
I'll give a shout out to the Natomas Chamber of Commerce in our partnership with the Fall Food Drive. We do it every year. And this year, things started trickling in, and there were some classroom competitions going on. And I think last Friday, you could barely make it through the front door because everything started coming in.
Yeah.
And it's just really impactful, and it really shows what happens when the community get together. And everything stays here in Natomas. It's for the benefit of Joey's Food soccer over at Natomas High School, and yeah, just fantastic to see everyone come together.
Yeah, so good.
Sean?
I will take the student conference thing from the parent side, and I'm really excited that conferences are coming up next week. I managed to snag a, if not the first spot, it's the second spot that's available, just to get it in and do it. So always a good time.
Love it.
Meredith?
I have so many. Two of my favorite humans ever here tonight to talk to you all, and I'm just immensely proud of them. I've had the joy of knowing them for 3 years now, and watching them grow into leadership has just been a true privilege of mine. So I have that one always, and whether or not celebrate them. And I have like just kind of like a one-off one. Today I get to be at the KA campus more, and a lot of people are like, "Who's this person?" Because
Yeah, yeah.
I'm, from here very often. But I had like a third grader come up to me like, "Excuse me," and she just like I seem to be an adult who might be on it, and she was like just so imbued with a sense of authority in this moment, like and new, and she said, "I saw something and I had to be an upstander."
Mm.
And she reported to me something she thought needed to be taken care of, and I agreed. So it was
Wonderful.
just such like a fun moment. Yeah,
Love
barely got her name.
Love
But
it so
I was
much.
just like so proud of her, and
Yeah.
wondering if in a few years maybe we'd be seeing her here in the future.
I
So
love it.
it was a cool moment.
That's great.
I do think that's going to be a piece of the fun of being a K-12, right? Is seeing that
Right.
progress over time. With that, are there any other board comments for items not on the agenda? Seeing none. Public comments? Nope. John's checking his email. Just 1 second.
And there are no public comments in the inbox either.
Perfect. So that brings us to our presentation for tonight. The board is very honored to be welcoming the Delta Club here to present to us.
Fantastic. There we go.
Sorry. Good evening, members of the board. Thank you for having us. We're both really excited to be here. My name is Olivia Kegwin, and I'm president of Delta Club. I'm an 11th grader at Westlake Charter High School, and current participant in the California Youth Climate Policy Program. Hi, my name is Marley, and I am the vice president of Delta Club. I am also a junior, and I'm really excited to be able to present at a board meeting. Also, this is kind of we both respect each and every one of you. The board does so much for the school, and it's kind of a surreal moment for both of us. We've been watching, or at least I've been watching the board for the past couple years virtually, and so yeah, again, just super excited.
Welcome.
Right. So, what is Delta? It's a club at the Westlake Charter High School, and our mission is to inspire and develop next generation of environmental leaders through education, awareness, and partnerships. We know that the climate crisis is the most defining crisis of our time. It's a global emergency, and so our community is not immune to its effects. And so that's why we wanted to make sure we had some focus within our school on that. We're also aligned with the practices of Project Green Schools, which is a national organization that provides Delta members with tools and resources from like-minded change makers.
So what are some of Delta's goals? One of our main goals that we've been focusing on is to minimize plastic and waste on campus. We also are trying to promote more sustainable solutions to students and family needs. And lastly, we're advocating for Westlake to center sustainability and its values and practices to demonstrate what's possible. So some of the things we've done so far, we've done a sustainable clothing drive. This was last school year. We were enhancing sustainable clothing consumption
So we actually collected a bunch of these sneakers, and we gave these to We, which is a local partner, and we got sneakers, which recycles sneakers. And we had some really great sustainability impacts come out of this. 87 pairs were displaced from landfills. Over 1,000 pounds of carbon dioxide was displaced, and over 80,000 gallons of water was saved.
Our most recent project is this public art installation at the North Natomas Library. We made this, obviously, it's a wave design that represented the wastefulness of fast fashion, which is a very prevalent and popular practice, I think, right now. And this wave represents just it's like a very water intensive practice, and especially to make denim. And we hope you guys can at some point see it. There's a lot more information about it there. But that'll be up till all of November. Hopefully you get a chance to see it. So how does Delta align with Westlake's mission? That's why we're here. We think the values we have in our Delta Club align with the values of the board and with Westlake, and we think the board would make be a significant role in our climate action. And one of those values is leading as global citizens. This is relevant to our school and to climate change, because climate change is a social justice and equity issue. It disproportionately impacts people. While it disproportionately impacts all young people and future generations, it also disproportionately affects communities of color, predominantly Black communities, Indigenous communities, under-resourced and low-income communities. And so these can have direct impacts on our own community, because climate change impacts us locally and globally. The global South is impacted intensively by climate change and contribute the least to it, but are impacted most. And we see this also locally with waste sites and other pollution sites being located in predominantly communities of color. So this is a really relevant issue for our community.
So another one of Westlake's missions is displaying academic and social emotional competence. And this is really important with climate because the National Association of Social Psychologists passed a resolution declaring that climate change negatively impacts the mental health of youth and asserts that climate change education as a key factor in supporting student agency, efficacy, and resilience. So it's really important because when students are learning in classrooms, something like climate change can negatively affect that social emotional learning, and we want to make sure everybody feels confident and able to lead and go through with things that they're passionate about. Yeah.
Another one of Westlake's values is engaging in community collaboration. I think Westlake does a brilliant job at this. And we know that schools play a major role, a leadership role, in modeling climate and environmentally friendly practices. And when we actively adapt to climate change and become resilient to it, we are better able to support our community. And students, our kindergartners that just got enrolled, and they're going to be witnessing the effects of climate change in their future, and it's important that our school is aware of that and can support them through that.
So we're really excited to partner with school leadership, and some of the things that we've been thinking about trying to work on is we want to eliminate single-use plastic through compostable utensils. That's something we've been thinking about. And we also want to include purposeful integration of environmental literacy in existing core classes because it's really important to educate people about what's going on and what they can do and to make progress. And in the future, we're hoping one day to adopt a formal climate leadership resolution so that we have a way to create change continually.
And if the board president is open to it, we'd also love to forward a draft resolution for your consideration.
So thank you so much for letting us present. It's a great opportunity for us to be able to say some of the things and present about some of the things that we're passionate about and that we think could do well with Westlake.
We'd also like to continue this conversation and yeah, just in the future going forward, we touch base on this and know like Westlake's role in climate action and the opportunity for us to connect with our community in that way. I'd also love to open the floor to like questions and comments from the board.
Excellent. First of all, well done. Thank you. Very well done. Questions, comments from the board? Josh? Oh, I thought you were raising your hand.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I saw your hand moving, man. You move your hand in class. You get called on.
I'm excited, man. I'm fidgety. I'm excited. You guys did a fantastic presentation, and I think the topic definitely hits close to home. And it's not easy to stand up and do what you did. Yep. But great job.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Comments or questions?
I'll go. In my private life, I'm legal counsel for Air Quality Board, and more we're talking about the importance of resiliency and adaptations to climate change, right? The most recent one we've talked about is actually with older populations who don't have requisite air filters or air conditioners in order to adapt, nor the power source, if the power goes out during brownouts and blackouts, to actually continue to use their respirators. There's a lot of issues here, there's just so much. So these next steps comprise both pieces that are in the board's purview and I would think pieces that are in administration's purview, right? Yeah. So I might propose, John, if you're willing to set up a time for the 4 of us or 5 of us, Dr. Galloway as their advisor to meet and sort of game plan what those steps might look like. And also I think it'd be an opportunity to maybe schedule a time for you to come to governance to talk about policy, since that's sort of the board's policy arm. If you're open to that, we'd love to keep working with you. It's fabulous to have engaged students who want to come and make change. You are our future's change makers. So
I love it.
does that work?
Absolutely.
So we'll reach out and schedule a time and then talk about next steps.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Love it. Just as a note on one of the pieces you presented on, I was not aware of the significance of the use of denim in the waves. I was obviously attracted to the waves. I love the water. I was attracted to the art piece, but the acknowledgement that the heavy water usage in the production of denim is kind of one of the central themes there. That was really fascinating. So thanks for bringing that to us tonight. I hadn't realized that.
Did you collect the denim from other students or from your own closets?
Yeah, we actually had another clothing drive and we collected a bunch of clothing from the KA, from all the way to the high school, and then we used that to make art, and then we're going to be donating the rest of it that we didn't use to local partners.
Awesome. Team, anything else? Mrs. Rice?
I just would like to also acknowledge the power of the work that you did in terms of like the sustainability piece of it and the drive that you did for the clothing and the sneakers and all of that. But then taking it into a place in our community and needed to weave, so powerful. So thank you for the positive impact on like multiple layers of what you did.
Even to piggyback on that, the fact that that art installation could have gone in this library, but to put it in the North Natomas Public Library and say, hey, we demonstrate what's possible. Here are our students saying to the world, this is some stuff we're thinking about. Yeah, that's powerful. That's powerful.
I have a question.
Please.
I'm gonna go big. So, as we look to facilitate a permanent high school, have you guys given any thought to what clean energy, whether that's through solar or other ways we can help the environment as we look to facilitate that. You know, if you guys had ideas or programs or things like that that, you know, might be beneficial, I'd love to hear more.
Yeah, we've definitely thought about this new campus. There are various, what are called green building practices and, that can happen, whether that's like, you know, sustainable waste management, like you said, green energy, all sorts of things, and we can, supply you with some good like, programs and resources for that as well.
Yeah, I'd love to plant that seed
Yeah.
with you guys and, you know, see where we might be able to take it.
That would be awesome.
Dr. Galway?
There's also, if the board's interested, there's Department of Education publishes Green Ribbon Schools. So if you were, you know, around when there was Blue Ribbon Schools,
Oh, yeah,
sports,
yes, I was,
you know,
yeah.
like an iteration off of that. But there's all sorts of like best practices that are published and like some bright spots and people doing some innovative things in their local community. It's a great way to be recognized for the hard work you're doing, which is lovely. A few years ago, Olivia and I had the opportunity to attend a conference together. We presented at a conference, and there were some schools all throughout the state of California were there to hear her speak, and definitely thought she was a grad student, not a freshman in
I remember that,
high
yeah.
school. But they had all sorts of people from up and down our state representing things that they were doing and innovating in this space and practices they were willing to share with us. So
Cool.
there are definitely best practices out there for us to learn from and hopefully contribute to as a change maker.
Excellent.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. Congratulations, you two. Well done. And Hope, that's back to you then, right?
It is. It brings us to reports. Do we have a report from Wave?
We do.
We do.
Thank you, board members, for your patience as everything that can happen seems to happen on board meeting days, and I have not been able to attend. Poor thing. Wave has been a fantastic experience for me as a Westlake mom, and I am so grateful for the families of our Westlake community. I have made many new connections with parents this year, and I'm looking forward to what's to come. We have finished 2 of our biggest events of the year, the Olympic Triathlon and our Fall Festival, and they were a huge success. Woohoo.
Woohoo.
Want to make sure that's in there because that's cute. We made around $40,000 in donations for the OT, and the numbers for Fall Festival are still coming in, but the turnout was strong and there were smiles all around. We have a wonderful group of families volunteering and showing up to our meetings, and I am hopeful that more people will feel empowered to take part in what we are trying to do here, giving our students a unique school experience through community collaboration. I look forward to attending the next meeting. Oh, now she just jinxed herself.
Yeah, there you go.
I look forward to attending the next meeting and hope you all have a fantastic Thanksgiving.
There we go. There we go.
December is always hard for meetings, so
That's right.
lots of, yeah. Charter Impact. You want to do Charter Impact?
Oh, sure. We had a great time at Charter Impact. Microphone on. Yeah, we had a great time at Charter Impact. The Charter Impact Committee, you know, as you know, is the team that wrote the strat plan and has done some work to align our practices to the charter itself, and recently wrote a white paper regarding recruitment and retention of a more diverse teaching population. And this year, we're like, well, maybe it's time to iteratively change Charter Impact into more of an academic oversight committee. So we read a published piece on what does an academic oversight committee actually do, and we have some homework where they were all charged with going and watching last month's YouTube, just the section where I did the academic report. So I went to look how long it was. Sorry, it turns out that was 40 minutes. Didn't realize that I talked so long. So they're all doing their homework. We're gonna come back next month and start to kind of talk about what does it look like to be a academic oversight committee that would report back to this board some type of analysis and findings from a regular academic oversight. So it's a good little piece. We'll report back next month.
With the goal that it will tie into the next, we have our goals on later today, but on goal 1, work towards the reauthorization of the charter. So it's a nice tie-in.
Perfect.
Josh, development.
So development meets on Monday. We've got got a large day coming up on November 28th, which is Giving Tuesday, right after Cyber Monday. But that's one of those, we're reaching out to our parents, to our community business owners who want to give to Westlake Charter. What we're doing is we're raising money for field lessons. I think Nirali calculated it out at about $190, $200 per student to make sure we can continue to send everybody on field lessons and keep that going. So that's our fundraiser. So for those who are listening, if your business gives and is on the matching donation website, we're listed. Reach out to us. We can get you connected. Explore partners at westlakecharter.com, and we'd love your support. And then we're also going to do goals.
Love it.
Can I add two things?
Of course.
One, 190 for 2 students on average.
Got it.
And then the second piece I wanted to add was also there's a matching program that any parents that want to donate, great time, because most companies do a matching program through their companies. Caterpillar is one of them, for instance. Take advantage of that. Great time if you're going to give. Might as well double what we're giving already.
I love it.
Thank you. Sean, finance.
So at our last finance meeting, we did our goals, and we got an update from Steve, and continued our conversation about certificated compensation. Apart from the goals, that'll be my update for the next few months.
Thanks, Sean. Governance did not meet tonight, but policy work continues, and we'll probably have a pretty full meeting in December, just so you're prepared. With that, Dr. Ike.
I will try to go shorter than an academic report, but no guarantees. Hi, everybody. So glad you're here. Let's dive in and do what we do. We'll start with some celebrations. Obviously, we just celebrated Red Ribbon Week. Well, it is a wonderful week to decorate doors and to have a little bit of fun on campus. It is a very opportune time to talk to all our students, kindergarten through 11th grade, about making healthy choices for our bodies. And I always celebrate this time of year. I think it's very important, especially in a world where the fentanyl epidemic has taken so many lives across our country and around the world. So I think it's important to say, hey, we acknowledge Red Ribbon Week and the choices we make. Fall Festival was an absolute gas. What a great time. The baskets were absolutely, over the top, as they always are. The crowd was filled with smiles, and I know there was many, many calories consumed at the cakewalk, at the dessert walk. Really, some phenomenal students went out to our secondary showcase to show off our high school at the showcase, which was held at Natomas High School this year. And Mrs. McIver, our high school principal, tells this great story where a couple of our students were explaining, this is the center picture, a couple of our students were explaining flex blocks, GPA enhancements for honors classes, really some in-depth calculations regarding it. And then the principal thought, well, I should probably step in and, make sure they have an authority to speak to. Oh, great job. I'm the principal, and the parents of the kid went, that's nice. Tell us more about that. And went right back to the students and were like, my work here is done. These students are so well prepped. The students spoke very well about our program, and it was a wonderful night for all. Love to celebrate joyful learning across the entire K-12. Over there, Star Books, which was in Mrs. Threadgill's Spanish class. I walked in, and there was a Starbucks, baristas there while they all were reading books in Spanish. We have, all kinds of activity throughout the K-12 continuum, but this elective down here in the bottom left corner where our middle schoolers are doing song and dance just tickles me every time, because I don't know if in 7th grade I'd have got on stage and sung or danced, but those kids just do a phenomenal job. Obviously our biking piece as well. The fall food drive, which Steve acknowledged earlier, is absolutely. Maybe it's hyperbole, but I think this is the most food we've ever collected. I walked in the office yesterday and was just blown away. I have the internal mic, so it's okay. But thank you for looking out for me. No, it's good. Thanks for looking out for me. I got the little mic down here. At both campuses, the fall food drive is fantastic. On the right, you can see our leadership team, led by none other than Mr. Rubin, is just a fun group, well led, and doing some phenomenal work around this season. Speaking of phenomenal, I just love it every time Everest gets up in front of the crowd. You think that middle schoolers can be like, Everest. They go, ah! I mean, they just lose it, man. It is so great. And I was at a softball game the weekend after this, and Brandon Yoder, who's like, what grade is he in? Fifth grade, fourth grade, fourth grade, swore up and down. I saw Evers take his head off, and it was Dr. Ike. I love the
They
Yoder.
thought it was me one day.
Yoder is spreading the word.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
We love it. We love it. You'll never know who Everest is. And our middle school rally was a blast. And we have a high school rally coming up in a couple of 3 weeks, I think. It would be super exciting. Mix It Up Day, if you're not aware, it's a national movement where we say, hey, mix it up. If you normally sit with these kids at lunch, sit with somebody else at lunch. And on both campuses, we celebrated Mix It Up Day in different ways. Human bingo and all kinds of great stuff. Role model day, which obviously the kids crush it, but I love it that Tony and Stacy dress up. They are both office specialists or staff here at the K-8 school, and we love the spirit days. Today was, what was today? Mix and Match Day. Mix and Match Day, that's right. All the mismatched socks. We celebrated athletics with good reason, right? Our cross-country team is on fire. Our girls volleyball had a home playoff berth. That's a big deal, not just to make playoffs, but to have playoffs here at home. It was our first time we hosted, thank you, chaperoned. It's the first time we ever hosted a playoff event here at this school, and it was awesome. We had a lot of fun, and big shout out to our athletics director, Dave Evans, and the whole team, Lauren Bingham, and all the folks who make that happen. All right, let's dive into some strategic actions. I think they're thin today. Maybe there's one or two. Let's find out. I think it's just one. Talking about the systems analysis in the Student Support Services program. As you know, Kevin Seamus has now retired, and we wish him well. And I'm going to talk to you kind of through our strategies to replace Mr. Seamus and then backfill with some appropriate staffing, and then what we're doing going forward to make sure the program is just rooted well and recovers the transition in leadership. And I just want you all to know about that. It includes supporting the leadership transition, really curating data to be responsive to the current need in our Student Support Services program to make sure we're meeting the needs of our staff, our students, our families. Really making sure we're able to mid-year recast a clear vision of what are we trying to accomplish? What do we need to accomplish that based on that systems analysis? I'll introduce a professional development series and kind of talk through some long-term commitments. So just from a flow chart stance, top of that Student Support Services Department is the K-12 Director of Student Support Services, who's now none other than the amazing Katie Davis. As you know, she's a longtime Westlaker. She was a phenomenal teacher, then was a TOSA, a teacher on special assignment, who worked in the MTSS team, became the coordinator of special education, and now she's highly qualified to step into that role as Director of Student Support Services. However, it's a new role for her, and it's a big role for her. And we decided, hey, rather than have her do that all by herself, we brought in a partner for her who she is a big fan of, and they're big fans of each other. And these two are going to do great work together. We hired a K-12 Director of Program Development, none other than Christina Ike, who is the former Director of Student Support Services. These two are partnering to make sure that the systems analysis that I'm talking about really captures the current reality and able to cast that desired state so we can move the program forward. So Christina Ike will be here all the way through June 30th, and then Mrs. Davis will be running the program as the director by herself. So she was the K-12 Special Education Coordinator. We've taken that role and split it into two, a K-8 Special Education Coordinator and a 9-12. I think this is potentially inevitable because as we grew, I think we got to this year and kind of went, okay, we're two full campuses and we're about to get up to 500 in the high school, and it's an okay time to go, all right, this makes sense. And the names that fill these boxes make sense if you're local and have some local knowledge. None other than Ashley Patel will be our K-8 Special Education Coordinator, and the amazing Daniel Schoenberg will be our 9-12 Special Education Coordinator. Both phenomenal, homegrown West Lakers who get the program, the processes, get the families, get our commitment to our way of doing what we do. So they're going to do just a phenomenal job. So if you look at that kind of triangle at the top, Davis, Patel, Schoenberg working together to re-envision not just the special education side of the house, but really how the entire Student Support Services program plays out. And with Christina Ike, kind of a guide on the side, we will launch the November to January portion of the plan, which is systems analysis. From a teacher perspective, from a student perspective, from a family perspective, from a board perspective, from an administrative perspective, the question is, hey, what systems are in place and are working? We do this, it produces desired results, that's good. What systems are in place but are not producing the results that we desire, right? And we find lots of those at a micro level and a macro level. And then what systems are not in place? And full disclosure, like if anyone's ever done this work, you found this to be true. You go, hey, I don't think this system's in place. And you go, you mean this system? And we go, oh, I didn't know we had that system. We're clearly not using this system, which is great. Because then we get to like bring the system back forward and recast a vision for why we should use that, how we should use that. So sometimes it's just bringing things to the surface. Very excited about that work. We think by early January we'll kind of be able to cast what exists and where we think we're going. And then we have this really awesome opportunity starting on January 29th to launch a 3-part professional development series. We are working with some partners right now with the California Department of Education who are specialize in fully inclusive practices. And we actually had a meeting with them today. We said, hey, as we kind of analyze our systems and recast, hey, what should we be doing? We'll launch a 3-part professional development series just to kind of reground ourselves. It will look different for kindergarten than it will for high school. So we envision this professional development series being kind of personalized to the grade band, grade level, or subject area. So we're very excited about this 3-part personalized professional development series. And then as we come out of that January, February, we've done our systems analysis. We kind of recast the way we should be doing business. We've documented, kind of blueprinted, created that playbook for okay, this is the new reality. This is the direction we're headed. We have a stability in leadership. We are, it is public knowledge that the amazing Katie Davis will be going out on maternity leave in early April. And luckily, as she does, we will have Christina Ike as our interim Director of Student Support Services. She'll carry us all the way out to June 30th, where we'll come back around and start the year next year. So while we are responding quickly to a loss, because Kevin Seamus took this opportunity to retire due to needing to care for a loved one, we, I think, have a good response and a great team in place to make this work happen. Any questions about that process there? Very good. If any of you feel so inclined, I would like to actually give some input regarding the systems analysis. Mrs. Ike and Mrs. Davis are available to make scheduled appointments. They've put that in the Westlake Weekly. Anyone on the team can reach out through the Westlake Weekly, book a time, and you'll just be answering those 3 questions. Hey, as far as you know, what is in place, what is not, what is in place working, what is in place not working, and what's not in place. If anybody wants to participate.
I just want to celebrate real fast. We have 2 former board members up there.
I know.
Which is kind of a fun twist. So I do feel
I know. Yeah.
There is at least it's neat to see that perspective is there.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Ashley Patel, former Westlake Charter School board member, Katie Davis, yeah. So we should recruit Daniel Schoenberg, is what I heard. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Yeah, great. Actually, 3. Christina Ike
That's true.
was a Westlake Charter School board member long before I got here, back in the old Del Paso
Founding
days.
teacher, if I remember.
She was a founding teacher and a original Westlake Charter School board member at one point. Yeah, there you go. Going from strategic actions into updates, I think I have 2. One of them is just regarding outreach. It is that time of year. Goodbye, you guys. Good to see you. Great job. Yeah, it's that time of year. So it is mid-November, and as of December 1st, the lottery will open. Remember, we run our lottery from December 1st to January 30th every year, same time every year. And it's really important to us that we promise our community that we make every effort to make sure people are aware of it. There are charters out there in the world that kind of keep it quiet, so only the people who know get in. We're like, oh no, we are shouting from the rooftops, and we especially shout louder in areas of our community that are underrepresented. Now, I should have showed our new map of where all of our kids are enrolled. It's really fascinating. I'll bring that back to a board meeting, because we've done some recent analysis on where our kids fall on the Natomas district map, and we're really spread out far, and we have good representation from South Natomas, but not as much representation. So it's been our practice in the past to really make sure we send more postcards to our South Natomas residents. So application outreach, we're obviously doing social media, the Natomas Buzz. We have direct mail postcards to the 95833 and 35 or 34, 33, 34 and 35. And then strong brand visibility, word of mouth, and 8th grade opportunities to see our program. So our 8th graders we'll have the shadow opportunity to go up and visit the 9th grade program, which we'd love to take all of our 8th graders up there. And then, applicants, people can begin to apply December 1st. It is an online application through Lotteries, so it's very simple and easy for our families to track, and all applications will be a part of the random public lottery on March 4th. Good. Oh my gosh, it's our first K-12 lottery. That's it. We will have arrived at K-12. It's been so awkward over the last 3 years being, hey, we're K-9. That's a dog. Wait, we're K-10. Hey, we're K-11. We will finally be K-12. It'll be fantastic. Any questions about lottery or outreach? It's coming up. Very exciting. I left that little nugget right there on the bottom. Well, it's okay. I want to talk through calendar. Calendar's not on the agenda today, but I thought I would get you some data for you to mull over about next year's potential calendar. I'd like to bring a draft calendar to the December board meeting, and I would like to seek approval in January. So this preview will give you a chance to go, well, John, before you bring that draft in, maybe think about this. So tonight is for you to preview things to see and think about. You can send me feedback or give me feedback tonight. I'll take that feedback and bring it back to the draft in December and seeking a January approval. So let's kind of walk through this. It's just a first draft. There could be errors, but here's what we're looking at. We definitely want to continue to utilize a balanced commitment to these two things. One, regular breaks throughout the year to support our academic and social emotional readiness. Remember, we used to have our Easter, our spring break tracked Easter. So wherever Easter was, that's where spring break was. Then sometimes you have February break, spring break, and then the long, slow 12-week march to summer. And we've said, no. We're putting that thing right in the middle so we have regular breaks. So that's been a commitment we've made for years. And then we also try our best to align to our partners in the neighborhood, Natomas Unified, NP3, Natomas Charter School. So that minimizes our impact on families who are in multiple schools. So let's take a look at what this looks like. First day of school on August 7th. There's our comparables out there. Here's our couple of notes. In August 7th start time means, once again, we have a first day back for teachers on 7/31, which just always feels like, oh my God, we're starting in July. But it's worth noting that's what happens if you want to start on a Wednesday. We obviously know the benefits of starting on the Wednesday because Kinder has 3 days of Kinder conferences, and if you try to start on a Thursday, now you've messed that up. So it's worth looking at. Next, our fall break is 10/7 to 10/11, which means my birthday will be on a Saturday. You guys write that down if you want.
It's not technically during break.
It's not technically during break, which is great. Natomas Unified does have the 1 day 10/7 off. That is a teacher work day for professional development, just so you know. And NP3, we will share a break with them and Natomas Charter School as well. Cool. Winter break, we're pretty well lined up, 12/23, 12/23, 12/23, and 12/23. You notice we are 12/23 to 1/6. Everybody else comes back on 1/3. The 1/6 is that Monday. That's the optional teacher work day. Well, we don't have any data on that because it's not January yet. So when I come back in January for this meeting and we're talking about approving next year's calendar, I'll have some data on this year's January. Like, was it useful? Do people care? Do they like it or not? So it's awkward timing, but we'll know on this January how well people like that day. I know we did it last year, but that's only 1 year of data. The other thing is that there is no travel day on the 20th. The 20th is the Friday. I almost said the Friday before the 21st. Yeah, that's how it works. So none of these schools are doing a travel day that day, which is whatever you think it is. It backs up our last day of school back to Wednesday, because this year it's on a Thursday, because you put those optional teacher work days in there and things start to stretch out. It's good, bad, whatever. Interesting to note. Yeah. Winter break, February break. So we're like the real February breakers because we got a week. They have a 4-day weekend. They have 1 day there, and then they have like a really weird week and a half deal. They leave on a Wednesday and then take that Wednesday off, and then a week off, and it like leads them into.
USC has the traditional 2 Mondays.
Yeah, those are the 2 Mondays.
And then what NCS did is they moved the
Oh.
10th to that Friday the 14th, and they have the 4-day.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, I was actually referring to their next one,
You're thinking
spring,
about spring
spring
break,
break, so we
yeah.
can have, yeah, my bad, yeah. So that's February break, and this is the one that's like the hardest one to line up with, which is weird. Check this out. So we are, the 14th through the 21st. They are, if you start in order, this is funny. They start on 3/17, they come back on the 31st, which means they go out on the 31st, they come back on the 4th. They come back on the 4th, we go out on the 14th, then they go out on the 16th. I mean, it's a weird mishmash.
They built in travel days. NCS, I mean,
Yeah.
around Easter, like a
Right.
few days before and a few days after.
Yeah, they kind of wrapped around Easter. They don't touch Easter. We happen to bump up against Easter by luck, and I'll show you how. So this is our or second optional teacher workday. Check this out. Here's the splits. The splits are the time before, the number of weeks before spring break, the number of weeks after spring break. If you go back to your February break, we're a 7-7 split. You get out of February break, you go 7 weeks. You get spring break, you go 7 weeks. You get summer. These guys are a 12-7 split, which is wild because they had like that short February right here. So we didn't count you all the way back. The last time you had a whole week off was deep. So you go 12 weeks, then a 7 week. These guys go a 10-10 split. They're kind of like us. They space their stuff out. And this one's a 14-6 split. So, but they have a long weekend in there somewhere. Maybe it's here. This is the one. Yeah, Natoma Charter School has a 4-day weekend and a 3-day weekend in their 14-week run. So, or in this 14-week run here, before spring break, they have a couple of those that have a 4-day and a 3-day. So, look, it's the calendar. Soak it up. Think about it. Any nuggets? I'd love to hear them. This ends us on a Wednesday, starts us on a Wednesday, gets us our spread out breaks, gets you a couple of teacher work days, but you lose that travel day before winter break if it matters.
So the last day is June 4th?
Oh, is there another slide? That answers that. There you
Sorry,
go. No, my
I
bad.
didn't
Yeah.
mean to,
No, it's good. Yes, we are the 4th, they are the 4th, they are the 6th, which is interesting because there's been years previously where we were a whole week off of NP3 and 2 weeks off of NUSD, which we still are a bit off NUSD, but
if we still had the 2-week spring break, we would be.
yeah,
So
that's
that-
what
I
it
mean,
is.
That's how it,
Pushed us into the second.
yeah.
Amy?
I just have a question about the teacher work days. Have teachers been polled this year or been asked if they would prefer to have the spring break work day, the work day that comes after spring break, like maybe earlier, after October break?
We approved this calendar last December, so no. They haven't been polled about this year, but if you want to poll them about next year, now would be a good time to do that. Yeah. I mean, and if we think that that's a better play, I think when we came up with it as a board, our play was, and we know, hey, everybody goes home over winter break and they work. Don't work. And everybody goes over spring break, don't work. And our original play was one after each, a fall, winter, spring. No, it was winter, February, spring. And then we were in leadership, we cut it down to these two. But yeah, there might be a different play. And maybe we can do some survey work if the board wants us to scratch on that for sure. I'd love to watch usage rate as well. Like, our problem is we're not going to see these days used until after we approve the calendar. I mean, we'll see the January, but we won't see that spring break one. So maybe a good survey would help us. Yeah, I love it. I'd love it. If you want to help me jam on the side, I'd love it.
Well, I know part of the trick too, right, was the different sort of breaks between high school and K-8 and trying to keep, right, that's just part of it too with the semester ending. There's a lot of different discussions around trying to sort out which days.
Trimester versus semester.
Yeah.
Dr. Galloway?
Yeah, traditionally, the high school has the semester schedule, and that fall semester is shorter.
It is short, 10 days.
So we're always fighting for time. And then also traditionally, the conference week is right after fall break in the high school. So
Right.
I think that would have been conference week if you ran one of those. So,
True.
I mean,
Yeah.
nothing set.
No,
Right, I know, yeah. It's good to, you made a little survey work for us on both sides of the house, both campuses, would help. Yeah, love it, love it. Any other calendar thoughts up there? We're open, let's,
I have a question. It seems, I don't know, maybe I was just paying more attention this year, but the day after Halloween, a lot more schools the kids weren't there. Is there any benefit to that? Is
I mean, you do a teacher, you want to slide an optional teacher work day to the day after Halloween. I don't know that I want to work that Halloween if we're all taking a day off. Yeah, I don't know. How do you get that day off? You could, it's your calendar.
It's a Friday next year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's your calendar. You could do whatever you want.
I
It's just that,
noticed an uptick this year. It seemed like that a lot more school districts were doing that. I
It's
was
just-
curious.
it's just that so your school year starts and ends on a Wednesday. So you get to decide if you take that day as a day off. Totally awesome idea. It's just you got to find another day to plug in. So, I mean, other than the teacher work days, right? Other than those two, we don't have travel days built in. Is there a travel day before?
Doesn't look like it.
What's that? Right? Oh, no, that's a teacher work day. Yeah, and you can't these are like federal holidays right there. You can't mess with those. What's that? What month is that, Amy?
That's Veterans Day. That's
Veterans Day.
tomorrow
That's Veterans Day,
next
yep.
year.
I guess I could look, I can't, my glasses, I can't see. Yeah, well, hey, would you make a note, like, Melissa's super smart, like, hey, Melissa, take Halloween off. And then she'll come up and go, well, if you do that, you could do this. Let's give it a run, see what happens. Just as options. Any other calendar thoughts? All right, cool. I'll be here all month. So, yeah, send me an email if you have any thoughts, and we'll see what we can weave in. We'll bring it back as a draft in December. And those are my updates. Back to you, Hope. Thanks, you guys. Great job.
Okay. Want to do a check for public comments real fast?
Sure.
While John does that, our next is the consent agenda. There are 4 items on tonight. Are there any questions about those 4? Seeing none, is there, I'm trying to drag out my words.
No comments?
Is there a motion to approve?
I'll move the consent agenda.
Thank you, Sean. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Amber. Vote, please.
Hope,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Meredith,
Yes.
Amber.
Yes.
I'm working on this. Nirali,
Yes.
Amy.
Yes.
I mean, it has to be a little easier with that 2MG side by
But
side.
MG is Melissa.
I know, or anyone in my house.
Yeah. Hi, MG.
But with that, now we're going to adjourn to closed session. Are we putting up a screen on the YouTube?
Yep, I'm putting up a screen. If you would all turn off your microphones, I'll also turn off your microphones over here. Folks on the YouTube, we will be back shortly.
Good night, Paul.
Good night, Paul. Good night, Paul Jacob. And
I'm sorry, are we
that
logging out
there.
or just?
You turn off your mic, you're okay. And
But I'm leaving, right?
I just turned it
you're
all off because I felt like
But there's
yeah.
something after this, so do I need to?
Yes, you
microphone
have to stay
one,
this time. I'm sorry.
microphone
That's
two.
okay. 1. No.
All right, there we go. There we go. No need to text me, anybody. We know you couldn't hear our voice there for a second. All right, check 1, check 2. You are back on the YouTubes. We are out of closed session, and we are to a regular agenda item.
Thank you. So in lieu of reporting out, we're going to move on to our next regular agenda item, which is accept and approve addendum to purchase sale agreement with Natomas Town Center LLC. Are there any comments or questions from the board? Seeing none, is there a motion to accept and approve?
I'll move.
Thank you, Josh.
I'll second.
Thanks, Sean. Steve, are you comfortable calling the vote?
Sure.
And then, yes, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yes.
Sean?
Yes.
Josh?
Yes.
Meredith?
Galloway?
Yes.
Amber?
Yes.
Marzak? Here? Raleigh?
Yes.
Grace?
Yes.
And
Absent.
And Boo's not here.
thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yep.
Perfect, thank you. In terms of future agenda items, we have 3 coming up next month. You heard about the academic calendar being in draft next month, so that's definitely coming. You'll get a great presentation on first interim budget and what is going on with our tax dollars in the state, I'm sure.
Whoop.
Yay. And then also hopefully some policy updates coming out of governance. With that, we'll go ahead and go to reflection. What worked well or what would be better if? Oh, Josh is right there. You go,
Oh, yep.
Josh.
I've been bugging Dr. Galloway about this all meeting. The Delta Club.
Yeah.
I loved it. It's great. Like I said, it's hard for adults to get up and do what they did. And they just got up there and presented and handled it and was ready for questions. And, you know, if it's all right with you, board president, we'd like to, I thought that was a phenomenal thing. I loved every second of it.
Awesome.
We went to Amy last time, so Meredith, would you mind going next?
Boom.
Oh, there you go.
I really like being in the library.
Yeah, me too.
I like being in the books, so that worked well for me. Also, the temperature is like balmy compared to like some days I'm very freezing, so
Yeah.
that worked really well for me.
Oh.
Thank you, Brad.
For the record, Balmy was good. Steve Cormick.
Well, he's wearing
It was
his
too warm for him. It was too warm for him. But it was perfect for me. I'm with you, Dr. Galloway. Sorry, Sean.
Sorry. What would have been better? I don't know. I thought everything ran really well.
Thank you. Sean?
I was a little cold, but I was a little warm at the beginning, so, you know, I guess I can't. I'm not Goldilocks, or I am Goldilocks, I don't know. I know you don't like dittos, but I thought the presentation
Yeah.
was really good. It's been a long time since we've had students come in and present, so,
yeah.
it was nice to have that.
Yeah, it's good. Steve, you want to play? What worked well or what would have worked better if?
Yeah, I mean, the Delta Club, it was super solid. I think the calendar discussion is always fascinating, like what organizations are doing, like what things for what purposes,
Yeah.
right? And like why they make decisions, right? I like we're clear about why we make our decisions on things, so,
Yeah.
And how it's impactful for the students and families. So yeah, there's just a couple things tonight.
Love it.
In your presentation, Dr. Ike, I really liked how you explained the transition and like how we're growing student support services in-house. And I think just that discussion, being able to kind of highlight where if we as board members wanted to ask more questions, kind of wanted to participate in that process, that was really cool. And I think it's a good to really try to understand various areas. So I thought that was really nice. What could have been better? You know, I'll play the temperature game and I'm freezing right now. So.
Noting.
It is, my nose is very
So
frosty.
funny. It's so funny.
I think we're all pretty
We
similar.
need little cones. We need individual cones with our own little temperature gauges. Yes, I'm with you. Ms. Houston, what worked well or what would have worked better if?
I think I'm right in line with everyone else. I was incredibly impressed by our students coming in. They're so well-spoken, just immensely impressed. And I really liked the discussion about the calendar, in particular, the thoughts of our staff and what is gonna work well for them and what they, you know, what would work best for them and what they appreciate. And
It's good.
Yeah, I'm left wondering about how do we include more clubs coming to, how that outreach might look. I'm left wondering about as we grow a senior class next year and watching NUSD's model of having a student representative on the board, if that's something that we entertain as we go into the next school year. Yeah, mostly just really positive reflections of leaving me thinking about how do we better include our student body, especially as they've aged. And I mean, I'd love to include all ages, like I don't mean to exclude anyone, but like they really, it's our next group of change makers. So how do we teach them policy and advancing and creating change in a way that, you know, leads to the future?
I love the idea of the student board member. I just think it's so cool.
It's about balanced commitments, right? Because they have a lot.
Sure,
on their
sure,
plate
yeah,
too.
yeah.
So I don't know.
It doesn't have
every
to happen
meeting.
tomorrow, but just this idea of how to include them in our governance structure. I think there's a goal in our strat plan that talks about utilizing the voices of our students, staff, and community. Engagement's always my what worked well piece, and you know hey, have we surveyed staff about the chicka chicka? Hey, what do you think about Halloween as a like that? To me is it. We come to this room. Not to listen to me, although that's what we do a lot, but to hear your voices. So everybody who added a comment tonight, that engagement is what worked well for me. Amy Rice?
I just really appreciate the systems analysis piece that's going into our student support services branch of what we do at our school, because it is so valuable. And so analyzing what works, what we need, because the population of students is changing.
Totally.
And so for us to be proactive in this process, I feel just really reflects what we do here at Westlake. So I really love that that's where our heart and our head is already in this. So that works well for me. And I love hearing the plans and kind of seeing the board side of it. It's really cool to see.
Fantastic.
With that, we'll adjourn at 8:08.
Thank you, everybody. Okay, YouTube, good night. Going to click button. All right, let me just click this YouTube here. Where is the YouTube? Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay, end stream. Bye, everybody.